must be a kind of blind love. I can't see anyone but you.
Today, the male gaze is a term commonly used to describe the sexualization of women in media or everyday life. Or rather, the male-preferred eroticized ways women are displayed in aspects such as fashion and makeup preferences. However, the term originates from Laura Mulvey's visual pleasure and narrative cinema, and is rather a concept of how women are positioned in cinema. Mulvey describes how filmmakers center their films around male protagonists who allow the spectator to look at the women since the man himself gets to look as well. The spectator's look is attached to the main character, aka the man's look. Mulvey goes to describe how these are two kinds of visual pleasure: scopophilic voyeurism and narcissistic identification. Scopophilic voyeurism is a pleasure derived from watching others without being seen. Mulvey notes how the dark environment that the audience is seated in, theaters add to this feeling of distance from the characters on screen, allowing the voyeuristic aspect to play into the viewer's gaze. Narcissistic identification is the viewer's identification with the image on screen. Mulvey references Lacan's ideology of the mirror effect, in which a child develops the idea of their whole body through the misrepresented body they see in the mirror. This process translates directly to cinema, where the viewer identifies with the people on the screen, and in most classical cases, the male main character, to fully form their ego as the spectator. The male movie star represents the more complete version of ego, offering the viewer a perfected reflection of themselves. Through this identification, we adopt the same viewing position as the male protagonist, allowing us to participate in his gaze towards the woman object that he observes in the film. Furthermore, Mulvey describes how the main purpose of a woman in cinema is to be stared at and become a moment where the film stops. In herself, the woman has not the slightest importance, she quotes. Mulvey then describes the fear in the male spectator that seeing a woman's lack of power on screen will also turn him powerless. There are two ways men cope with this fear: sadistic voyeurism and fetishistic scopophilia. Sadistic voyeurism is associated with finding pleasure in control of guilt. The viewer feels they get to decide whether the woman on screen gets punished or forgiven as a way of establishing domination. Meanwhile, the fetishistic scopophilia over-perfects the woman by obsessing over particular parts of the woman to tame her threatening presence. The existence of women as objects to be looked at is a simple truth in cinema. Mulvey points out that beyond emphasizing the to-be-looked-at-ness of women in cinema, the way they are to be looked at is played with.